Hello everyone and welcome back to Total Football Talk. We're going to have a look at all the latest news coming out surrounding Manchester United, and there's plenty of it. The press conference and players that United are interested in. So I'll just kind of go through the headlines and then we'll dive straight into it. And so there was the recruitment side. Rubin Amorim spoke about the recruitment side, which I think is very interesting because we were always told that recruitment was going to come from the club. But it looks like Ruben Amorim's going to have a big say in that. Ruben Amorim also talked about Obi Martin, which is very interesting, and he talked about kind of Rashford's departure to Aston Villa as well, and kind of why that came about. We look at who United are scouting at the minute, more young and hungry talent. We'll talk about that. And Chris Rigg and Quenda from Sporting, which we already know about. Wesley Franca as well. We'll have a look at who he is and why they're looking at him. And we'll also look at a potential deal that United tried to do with Douglas Costa from Juventus at the tail end of the transfer window. Okay, we'll start with the top story. But before I do, guys, if you're enjoying the content, I'd really appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button and hit me a wee like as well. I'd absolutely love it. If we can get 10 likes in this video, I'll be over the moon. I'm a very small channel. I'm just getting started. So all the support has been amazing. The views are blowing me away. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Top story. Ruben Amorim moving into so Ruben Amorim talked about the recruitment process at Manchester United. And he said, as I said from day one, I have to have the final say on everything that comes into this team. That was very clear. We work close together. That is to say, I just don't indicate the names. I define the profile with Jason Wilcox, and we have a recruitment department that does the work to find the right players with the right physique for this league, young players who are hungry. Sometimes we can't spend a lot of money, no surprise there. So the type of profile we're looking for the likes of Dogru, and we're also looking for the likes of Aiden Haven. These are, especially these two in particular, because they're both left-footed central defender in Aiden Haven's case, and obviously Dogru plays on the left side. So these are the right players at the right time in the right moment that we're looking for. Apologies, guys, got a little bit of dyslexia there, so reading some of these out can be a bit tricky for me, but we'll continue. I think it's very interesting. He wants young and hungry players, and I think that is going to define who his squad will be going forward. It's going to take him a while to rid the players that are in this squad. I hope he gets the time because I'm right behind him. And if he doesn't, and he has to stick with some of these players that are still there, he's going to find it really, really, really difficult. He wants young and hungry players, players that desire, players that want to go out there and feed themselves, not players that are going to be sit and want to be fed. He doesn't want someone sitting on a sofa being waved with a palm tree and being fed grapes. He wants someone who's out there hunting down their food, going into the jungle, trying to get hold of that, wrestle that bear and take out whatever element of food it is and bring it back. That's what he wants. He wants players that have got that appetite to win and the desire to go out there and fight for what Manchester United is. It was the anniversary of the Busby Babes yesterday, and those young players aren't defined by the crash. They're defined by the football they played, the desire and the hunger and the fight that they had for this club and this badge. And it was an unbelievable sport. I never seen it play. My father spoke about it, and he spoke highly of them, and he said what an unbelievable team that they were. And Manchester United is built on young, hungry players. So the likes of Dogru coming in and Aiden Heaven coming in, let's hope that they can, just have a smidgen of some of the past players have had, and have that desire, will, and hunger to go out there and fight for the jersey and help raise this club from the depths of despair, which is where we are right now. But yeah, so that's what Ruben Amorim had to say about that. We'll move on to talking about young, hungry players. He goes on to talk about Obi Martin, and he says he's doing his job, he's improving, he's playing in the youth team, and he has also other players that can play in that position, as in up front. So Rasmus and Josh were both brought with these players, so we've got two players here, so we need to improve them. And sometimes, confidence can change a player. And I think essentially what he's saying there is, Obi Martin's obviously got a lot of skills and a lot of talent, and he has a hunger and a desire, but he's only 17, long way to go with that kid. So we've got to nurture him, we've got to bring him in properly. We cannot destroy him. We've got to bring him in properly. And I think if he does get minutes, it'll be minutes off the bench. I don't think he's going to be starting anytime soon. But the kid's got desire. The kid's got hunger. the kid really wants to make it at Manchester United. So, I think we've got one hell of a prospect right here, but let's do it right. Because he's got more senior players that need to find some form. And if they can find some form, and you do that by scoring goals, maybe that'll come tonight. Maybe Højlund will score one tonight and get on a little bit of a run because, my God, we need him to. Or maybe Xerxes will get on a little bit of a run. Or maybe they'll both get on a little bit of a run because we need that to happen between now and the end of the season for the season to have any forward trajectory. Otherwise, we're in trouble. So, obviously, I think he's just saying I've got more experienced players ahead of him and they need to step up to the plate. And maybe this kid will get a chance, or maybe he will take his chance like Marcus Rashford did back in the day. But unfortunately, and as we'll speak about Marcus Rashford now, well, I'll kind of use that as my segue moving in. What he said about Marcus Rashford was, sorry guys, I need to make that. Rubin Amorim, what I couldn't see in Marcus, was he was supposed to play football and train the way I see it. And sometimes you have one player who is really good with one coach, and in the same player we have another coach that's different. I just want the best for Rashford and Unai Emery, and they can connect because he's a very good player. And I think, sorry, butchered that altogether. I think what Ruben's trying to say is he can see that there's a player in Marcus Rashford, but coming back to the desire and the hunger, I think it's he is taking Marcus out of Manchester United because that desire and hunger is gone, and maybe Marcus will find it when he goes down to Aston Villa. He may well do. I hope for our sake he does, because it gives us the opportunity to sell him on at a better price and bring some money back into the club because of the whole PSR and pure profit being an academy player. So I think it's important for us to want him to do well. But I just think Ruben didn't see in him what he needed to, and maybe other managers got a bit more out of him. But in reflection, I actually don't think they did. I think Ten Hag let him away with a lot, which was really frustrating. And Ruud van Nistelrooy maybe wasn't here long enough. But on the Ruud van Nistelrooy little piece of information, he did say in his press conference that he didn't keep Ruud because he felt he was too good to be kept as a coach or as an assistant manager. In his own right, he's a very good manager, and obviously he's a legend at the club. So kudos to Amorim for playing his cards very well on that one. A lot of respect for how he has respect for Ruud van Nistelrooy, and he speaks very, very highly of him, which I thought was a very nice touch and a very classy touch from an excellent manager who's still very young and still learning the game. So yeah, kudos to Amorim for having a bit of class about that. Because the other man, it could have been done slightly different, and the press never released anything about this. So we never really knew until now. So again, excellent on that one. But yeah, so kind of moving on from but one thing my title card does mention, Maverick or MadMan, and the reason why I asked that question and the reason why I use that question is because I think that Rubin Amorim is I think he is running the risk of trimming the squad. He had a big say in whether Anthony went, whether Marks went, whether Malacia went. He's trimmed the squad. He has let players go. Obviously, he gets some of the younger ones that maybe aren't as influential, but he's let a lot of players go in this transfer window. And as we see, he obviously has a big part to play when it comes to players coming in and players going out. If he is gambling with a smaller squad between now and the end of the season, it's going to be very interesting to see what he does with the young players that he brings in and the players that he has. Can he navigate us through these kind of choppy waters? Is he the Maverick to get us across the line, maybe with a trophy, because we're still into him? Obviously, you just never know, whether you get a bit of luck, you get a run in them. You just never know. Is he the man to do it, or is he a madman? Is he off his rocker by letting these players go and having no cover on the bench? Only time will tell, but I'm leaning towards the Maverick. I believe in him. I think, when you read what Sporting fans have said in the past, this is what he did at Sporting. He went in, rooted out the players he didn't want, and then he turned it into success. So I'm holding on to that belief that this man can still be the man to turn us around. And then you carry on with the young, hungry players and desire. And Manchester United have had scouts to watch Sunderland player Chris Rigg, because he's regarded as being the next Jude Bellingham to come out of the Championship. Now, where do we sit with that? Please tell me what you think. Do you think that Chris Rigg is the next Jude Bellingham? I've not seen enough of him. I've seen flashes here and there, but I've not really seen enough of him, so I can't really make that judgment. That's one hell of a tag to be putting on a kid, the next Jude Bellingham. Get in your comments below. Throw me something your way, my way, anyway. What do you think? I'm getting carried away. Okay, and then we'll move on to another young and hungry player. Young and hungry seems to be the way forward this morning. But, obviously, Dungle Castles is talking about how Rubin Amorim really wants Quenda from Sporting around the 50 million mark. Now, 50 million for a 17-year-old is a lot of money. I think we can probably get it cheaper. Hopefully we can bring that price tag down, but the kid's very impressive. So I've only seen him play a couple of times now, but what I've seen, I found him very impressive. Went and watched some clips on him on YouTube and a few other bits and pieces. And as I said, I've seen him play against City and a couple of other games in the Champions League. So it's not I haven't got a back catalogue to say, yes, he's unbelievable. But from what I've seen, talented, hungry, young, got the desire that Ruben wants. Ruben's worked with him before. So let's hope that he can, if he does come in, he can play on that right side. And we can start to bolster things down and move forward. And then swiftly moving on to the last little bit, or the second last little bit of information, talking about right backs. Manchester United are targeting a swoop for Flamengo right back Wesley Franca. Now, I mentioned this a couple of days ago. This was a couple of journalists have kind of been talking about this. He's a right back, a flying right back from the Brazilian league Flamengo. So be interesting to keep an eye on that, because I think we could probably get him again, young, hungry, desire, and again for under the 25 mark, under the 25 age gap, or under the 20. So he's under 25, sorry, and he fits the profile of player that we're looking for. Ruben wants to build a young and hungry squad, and he's going about it in the right way. And then finally, there was a little bit of information came out around Douglas Luiz, which would have been a very interesting signing that Manchester United tried to get him in the last dying moments of the transfer window. They're just past. And unfortunately, we couldn't get a deal done with Juventus. Now, I remember Douglas Luiz scoring that goal against us last season and shaking his backside and giving it to the crowd and all that. Now, he went on to win the game, which I really enjoyed. But I remember he's a good player. He would have been very beneficial to our midfield. But, he didn't quite, we couldn't quite get that deal across the line. So, obviously, we were trying to do things in the background. Ineos and Glazers, the Ineos in particular, try to keep things as quiet as possible, which I don't mind. I don't need to know everything, and everybody doesn't need to know our business. Fine balance between letting us know, the fans, and also letting and keeping things under wraps. But yeah, so that's where we are with all the news today. Thanks very much for joining me. I'm Keith. This is Total Talk, Total Football Talk, and I appreciate all the likes so far. I appreciate all the comments. You've been brilliant. Mark, you know who you are. Thank you very much for all your comments, man. I really, really appreciate it. And guys, anyone who stuck around to the very end, really, really appreciate it too. And also, if you want to watch some youth football, I run another channel for my kids under nines, but it's not your average kids under nines football match. There's a little bit of some of the games I put voiceover on and cut them into like little 6-minute sort of highlight reels, and they're quite entertaining, and they're starting to get a little bit of an audience. So please check that out on Total Football TV if you would. I'll drop a link in the description below. Thanks very much, guys. See you on the next one. Actually, tonight, give me your thoughts on tonight. Are we going to win, lose, or draw against Leicester? I haven't talked about it, and we are a bit nervous. We're at home. Leicester are awful. I'm just praying we can get through and keep that cup run going. Get your score lines in below. See what you think. I'm going for a 2-1 win. Fingers crossed. Christ, yeah. Okay, guys. Thanks. See you on the next one.